I think we're live. Another round. Okay. It's so good to be finally like back from holidays. Like everything feels so productive all of a sudden for some reason.
Yeah.
So, Fuad, do you wanna introduce yourself to the group before we get started?
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Fuad Alifati. Um, I I just joined Async API of recent, and I've been able to work on an issue which has been merged as well of recent as yeah. So I'm looking forward to working with more stuffs, more opportunities as well, and yeah. And I'm also in like volunteering for the upcoming conference, online conference as well.
Yeah.
Nice, welcome, man. Um, does anyone want to kick off the meeting with something? Otherwise, I can start with something if you want. I have two things I want to share, I think. So the first one is there hasn't been that much progress with the parser, the Python parser, or at least I haven't had any time to look at it yet. But I do plan on finishing like the initial working progress, like version 0, so it's actually usable because someone already asked for it in the Slack channel if you all saw it.
Yeah.
So I did just make the repository public, but it is still like a work in progress. So just bear in mind, breaking changes all the time. I don't really keep that in mind when I make changes, at least not for now. What was the second thing I was thinking about? So since Pavel is not here, I don't know if you guys saw the so he basically tried to render all of the bindings and the JSON schema stuff for so it's readable. So for example, I just sent a link in the chat where he basically like publishes all the versions of the bindings, and there should also be some, if I'm not mistaken, some migration guide as well, if there is any. And I think his idea, and I might be wrong, is to add all kinds of like insights that is needed from a developer perspective and even end users. So I just wanted to highlight that one. I do have something else I want to share, but I think I'm gonna save it until like a few meetings down the road. But let's see. But that's basically all I had for today, I think.
I think the documentation is really good for the bindings because when I first looked at it, we only had this repository on GitHub for it, right? And this is also why I didn't use it.
Yeah.
But I'm still not sure if he plans to integrate it in the official async API website or if he wants to keep it separate.
I have no idea, but it's a good question.
I think he said he wants to at least have it on the same domain so that it looks official.
Mm.
But I think it should also be possible to include it on the same page where we have the specs, even though if he doesn't want to have it in the specs, or if there was a decision, I think there's still the option to have like a subsection for it. But
I agree. Especially since it's like having everything like congested just within one domain is probably the best.
Mhm.
I agree. Lorenz, do you have any updates on your donation process and everything?
Yeah, I also have two updates. First one on the donation, so it went through. It is approved. And I already
Fine.
started talking to Lucas about it because there's like it's a little bit complicated, and he said he might need to make me an admin for some time. But then he went on vacation, I think, and I'm not sure when he will be back, but once he's back, I think we will do it one way.
On the
I think
19th.
it's again, sorry.
I think it was on the 19th, if I remember correctly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then I will ask him again when he's back.
Oh, 18th, actually.
That's next week, right? Yeah,
Yes.
good, good, good. And the second thing is, while I'm waiting, I already started on the framework integration, the Ktor thing, if you remember, like the second big application framework for Kotlin. And I basically finished it, and I can also share one example with you if I find share screen. You disabled it, I think.
Let me see if I can. I think this works.
Yeah. Just desktop.
I don't see anything yet, no.
I think I have to restart Zoom. I'm back in 1 minute.
No worries.
Okay, let's try again. Okay, now it should work. So basically, I have the same thing also for Spring Boot. We have one example application to show everyone how to use it. I can also show how it works for Spring to compare. So basically for Spring, you use those annotations, right? And then we have this one enable async API annotation. And this will basically set up everything in the background implicitly. And then you can register one extension. Extensions are basically things that you can't infer from code. For example, the info, how you want to call your API, the version, but also the servers are sometimes hard to figure out from code. And this is where you can basically register extensions that extend the model that is being generated automatically. And then you can have your message classes, like your objects that you want to send through channels and so on, and also your channels themselves. They don't have to follow any specific format. You can just annotate any class you want, annotate as a component, and then you can have those annotations that are created, for example, channel. You can set the path and parameters and so on. You can go crazy here if you want to set all informations, and also your operations like subscribe and publish. And then you can wire your messages. Also create them manually. So this is Spring Boot. This was what already existed. And now for Ktor, Ktor works a little bit different. You don't have that many annotations and code processing. You have more explicit setup. So what Ktor has, they have actually nice plugin ecosystem. So you have your server. This is basically your startup function. Then you create your embedded server that you want to use for HTTP traffic. And inside the server, usually you can like add routing, and then add routes with a path and so on. And this is how you create your server. And you can also install plugins. And this is the plugin that I created now for Ktor. And then for every plugin, you also have the option to add some configuration. So here you can also add the extensions, same thing that I just showed. Right, if you want to create some specific stuff here, you can do it. But also things like the path, right? Because the server will in the end serve the documentation. You can also change the endpoint that you want to use here. And that's basically it. So I think it's pretty easy to use now for Ktor. Everything else is the same. You can still use the message annotations to generate from your code, and the channel and the subscribe annotations. And then you can just start it. And then you will have your endpoint. By default, it's docs async API. And then you get this nice documentation. I can also copy it maybe into the studio thing. Studio.
Does the framework automatically output the async API file to file?
The file, no. You only get it as a HTTP response.
Gotcha.
And then you get like the thing that you expect, right? The operations, the server that you set, and also with the payload and so on.
Does the channels that you define within the both channels and operations, do those automatically get wired through the example application Kotlin file or in some way or form? Or do you have to, let's say, for example, if you want to subscribe to a topic, do you have to do something within the main application to make sure that the channel is actually subscribed to?
No, the only thing that you have to do is basically you have one handler method already there, and then you add this annotation. And that's
Okay.
all you have to do. And then it gets picked up again by reflection. So the framework will scan the class files and then see that something is annotated with subscribe, and then we'll add it to the documentation.
How many protocols are currently supported?
What do you mean protocols? You mean the
Is, for example, when you define a that an application subscribes to Kafka, does it automatically wire Kafka?
No, not automatically. You would have to
No.
do it, I think, probably in the servers, right? Because you use the protocol.
So if I define a server for Kafka and I define a subscribe operation in a channel, does it automatically support Kafka?
You have to add it. I think here in the subscribe you have the servers or something. Where was it again? Oh, not here, but here. Yeah, here you can add the servers for this channel.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have different examples showing different protocols?
No, I only have this one jitter or gitter, whatever it's called. This example thing that you usually also have if you open a studio.
Hmm.
And I basically always use the same example to compare how you can do this stuff.
Gotcha.
Probably would also make sense to add a more realistic example. But for now, I think it also already shows some use cases. So for example, one use case is that you have multiple messages, one that you have defined in the class, but also something more manual here. Maybe we can also find more stuff. For example, I don't
Nice.
think I have any bindings here. Would also be nice to have this. Yeah, so in general, was pretty easy once I moved some generic code in some shared module. So this context module is like all the framework integration code. And now it's easy to just add every framework. I think I will also add probably 2 more frameworks because it's so easy. And then like you have every possible thing that you want to use with Kotlin. Good.
Nice.
Yeah. Pull request is already open, but I still have to write some integration tests, and then I can merge.
Nice. Suvik, do you have anything you want to update?
Yeah, I also didn't work much on the thing. So according to the project board that we had, like I was supposed to work on the documentation. So I did update the documentation on the Go parser that I'm building. And I mean, but the thing is, you can't close it because it will take like a lot of iterations to finally like, complete it. Because a lot of the features that have not been implemented yet. So like I've just written docs for the things that I've already implemented. But yeah, now that I'm back, like I'll work on the things that I've been like piling on. So yeah.
All right. Anyone else want to add something to the meeting? Or bring something up you want to discuss? No? All right. Did you have anything, Suvik, or was it just a no?
Oh no.
Okay, gotcha.
Nothing else.
All right. Let's finish off early then. All right. I'll create a new meeting in 2 weeks. I think everyone is back from holidays regardless, so I don't think we have to skip any more meetings. And yeah, cool. All right. See you everyone next time.
See you then.
See ya.